Nigeria is one of the largest and oldest oil producers in Africa. The oil and gas sector is one of the most important sectors in the country's economy, accounting for more than 90% of the country's exports and 80% of federal government's revenue. Given the challenges confronting production and provision of energy in Nigeria, the 2020 Petroleum Industry Bill, which has scaled the first reading on the floor of the Senate, is expected to provide a framework to boost oil and gas output while enhancing sector attractiveness for international investors, thus increasing foreign direct investment. The PIB, which has been in making for over 20 years, when passed in law, is expected to strengthen and advance the developmental potentials of the oil and gas industry in addition to revenue maximization. I have joining me live again from our Abuja studios to shed more light and give an expert insight into this discussion, focusing on the oil and gas industry. He is the oil and gas governance consultant, Mr. Adigun. Thank you very much for your time, Mr. Adigun.
Thank you very much, Tolu. Nice to join you here.
Yes, great, and thank you very much for your time. The Petroleum Industry Bill is aimed at reforming the country's petroleum industry. Now tell me, how well do you think this can help really reposition this industry? We know what we face at this time. Investment's not attractive and all of that in the sector. Price of crude is down. A lot of issues, host community issues. We can go on and on, but take it from there.
Thank you, Tolu. It's been a long time coming. This is 19 years since we started this journey. And the issue has been the same thing, like you said. We've held up bills, we've held up investments, we've held up reforms for so many years. Nigeria in 2001 is not Nigeria in 2020. 2001, maybe we had about 5 countries oil and gas. As of today, we probably have about 19 countries in Africa with oil and gas. We are not competitive anymore. We've got to a point where we're not a preferred destination for investors. Those competitions are there. They're not getting the best deal they can get. The fiscals in our gas make our gas unattractive for investments. We have issues around governance, and many other challenges. So in a nutshell, this bill comes at the right time for Nigeria. A country that depends so much on this product needs to have a bill that is in line with modern trends, a bill that's competitive, a bill that's fiscally neutral, a bill that promotes participation, a bill that looks at governance and improving the factor of benefits to Nigerians. I mean, issues around subsidies have been in the discussions over the line. Issues around benefits and entitlements are there. Issues around pipelines are there. So it's a complicated structure in the oil and gas sector. And you imagine this is the 5th attempt at getting a bill for Nigeria. Other countries like Ghana, Mozambique, and co. got their bills years after we started our own. In fact, copied our bill and passed theirs. But us, for the peculiar policy of Nigeria and the way we look at things, we haven't done the right things. And you'll find out that as it goes on and on, we have a declining oil and gas space. So recount in Nigeria today, active recount is less than 12. Recount at 2011-12, at a point in time, was about 70-65. So when you look at the fact that people are not bringing money here, and the fact that we need this oil to diversify the economy, this bill needs to do that.
Now, you've talked about some countries now, and I want you to, let's look at the fiscal terms in Nigeria compared to fiscal terms in other jurisdictions like you identified, Angola, Ghana, Mozambique, and of course, Saudi Arabia.
Fiscal terms differ based on many things. Fiscal terms are not a function of one item. So fiscal terms depend on your kind of terrain, the costs of production in your country, the kind of quality of investors you can get, and other issues. Now, for Saudi Arabia, which is a matured market, which has strong governance principles, it's not very key. It doesn't need to be as strong in fiscal terms as Nigeria would be. Angola, yes, like Nigeria, similar terrain, but we are such behind in terms that we lagged. When you tell an investor that you're changing your fiscal terms, what you're telling them is to hold, don't do anything, because you can't model uncertainty. You can model high, you can model low, you can model negative, but we can't model zero. You don't know what it is. So what we need to do is get the fiscal terms out. Now, it might not be the best we get out this time around. It might be such that it is just good enough to start a process, but we are very much behind in it. And that's why a lot of money is not coming here. And if you look at the issues the ministers and the GMD are talking about, cost of production being very high. I mean, we produce a barrel of crude at between 27.30 onshore and between 18.21 offshore. That tells you a lot of problems. Now, oil prices will continue declining in the next few years until oil becomes a non-factor anymore. So if you don't get these fiscal terms ready and get quality investments in, and support it with an environment that allows people to invest and get their returns out, we will collapse. The oil sector will collapse. And that's why we all have to think about what is best for us now in the line of a country dependent on revenues from oil for its income, for predictability of our revenue, for sustainability of our revenues, and for assurance that we could get something better. Just before I top on that, you had a guest talking about the budget. The budget is predicated on a certain number of volumes of oil produced per day. Now, these volumes of oil are always been fictitious, never real, always assumed and false. So when you keep on putting false volumes outside and plan a budget on that, you never get a balanced budget. But let's even assume we want to do 2.1 million barrels for this period. You have to write the right physicals to get that oil out of the ground. There must be new prospecting. There must be new investment in increasing output from existing wells. There must be new expansions in what is existing there. And the move there now is towards the offshore sector. And then we say we're a gas country. Now, gas is good. Gas price in Nigeria is higher than international prices, but there's no domestic gas supply because of so many factors. So the physicals are very necessary.
Now, let's look at petroleum host communities funding and its petroleum, I beg your pardon, petroleum host communities fund and its ambiguities. Reading through this topic, I saw that there are a lot of issues surrounding that. Can you take us through what this means and how we can get this right? Because the interest of, I'm even concerned about the oil producing communities. How well are their interests protected in this document that we have at the moment?
Certainly, in the last 5 bills, I think this gives them the best deal. The bill proposes new funds for the communities to be managed directly by the communities. The time we've had over the years is simple. So we started derivation in 1980. We started with 1% derivation under Shagari regime. Then we moved to Umpadek under the Babangida regime. Then we moved to derivation 13% under the Obasanjo regime. Now what you notice is that the money is trapped at the state level. It never gets to the communities. So you go to Rivers State, for instance, Port Harcourt might get the money, but the Obiakpos and Co that are producing oil might not see the money because of the joint state accounts and other issues. Now what is happening now is a modification of the GMO use already existing in the sector. So where communities share in the profits and pain. So it's a tied interest. So if you allow production, you don't stop production, you allow flow, you get money, you choose your project, you identify what you want to do with it, it's funded by the oil companies directly. Now, if you destroy pipelines, if you allow vandalism and oil theft, you get nothing. So it's a mutual tied structure, which should incentivize communities to be better with oil and gas and take away the middlemen in the market for development. So the money goes straight to the community who will have identified what they want to do to the community thing. You know, Nigeria is a peculiar case with poor governance challenges at all levels, local government, state, and federal levels. Now, with local governments as well, if we put the money to local governments, it won't get to the communities. So now what we want to do is have these communities say, well, we need a road, or we need a university, we need to do this. Then we use that money of their profits from their part of the allowable 2.5% contribution to go to the communities directly. So it should be a win for them. It should be a good deal. It needs some more clarity on some approach. It needs more clarity on ownership. It needs some more clarity on whether it should be borne by the producers or whether it should be borne by the government. But I think we'll meet a mutual line. But at this deal, it gives them a good deal. It's a good deal for them.
Let's round up on this note. Now that the lawmakers are they are also interested, I think, in making this become reality, because I heard the Speaker of House of Reps saying that, yes, he's going to really look at PIB and make sure something is done quickly. What do you expect from them, particularly at this time that they tend to look at this? How soon do you want this to be made a law? Let's make it that way.
If you left it to me, to be tomorrow, because we are really, really behind. NNPC needs to be privatized or commercialized or whatever one to use and made a limited liability company. The losses they make are horrendous, and they are bound by laws to behave the way they behave. Unless you change the laws, you can't change the behavior of NNPC to some extent. So it doesn't matter who you bring in. The laws restrict them in performance. We have issues in the downstream, which we need to get over. We are trying subsidy removal. We need to move to the regulation. We can't deregulate completely with institutions like PPPRA and PEF in existence. They need to go and be turned into something else. And the law proposes them to be an authority. So for me, the law should be passed tomorrow. Now, with the National Assembly, there's been a lot of maturity shown, and I must be very honest about that. I mean, I'm very critical of their performance and other issues, but I think on the PIB, they've shown a lot of maturity. There's been a lot of ownership by the Speaker and the Senate President. We hope that the referral to the committees working on them will take place fast. We hope they understand the situation of the country, the need for the country to have money to diversify, the future of oil, which is not very positive. We hope they understand that this is an opportunity given. You have one party in power. You have one party controlling the National Assembly. Last time we didn't sign the PIJB for whatever reasons. This is an opportunity to do the right thing. I mean, the bill won't be perfect. No bill is perfect. The bill is the start of a journey. Once we do this bill, we can come back in another year or two, modify issues there as we learn. But I hope they take effort and pass it by first quarter next year at the worst case scenario.
Oil and gas governance consultant, Mr. Adigun, we're surely going to talk more about this. There's a lot around the petroleum industry bill, and we need to let Nigerians understand the positives of this and what we stand to gain, because oil remains the stay of the Nigerian economy until we fully diversify. Thank you very much for your time. It's really nice to have you join us on the show this Monday.
Thank you very much. I appreciate this.